What's up, everyone? Welcome back. In today's video, we're going to learn how to um, populate a table view from Parse, which is like a web backend with images and text. It's going to look similar to this. So then we're going to have a button that reloads it. And yeah, these are just placeholders, but you'll see. So let's get started. Alright guys, so the first thing I'm going to do actually is I'm going to head over to back for app. I'm going to go to our dashboard. I'm going to create a new app and we're going to call it meals, and meals demo is fine, and we'll create this. Let it generate. It always takes a few seconds for whatever reason. Alright, and then we're going to go into our dashboard here, and we're going to go into core, and we're going to create a new class while, and we're just going to call it meals. And then while we're in here, we're going to click on our meals class, and then we're going to add a new column, and it's going to be a type string, and then we're going to call it name with a lowercase n. And then we're also going to add one of type file, and we're going to call it image, and we're going to add that. Alright, so that's good enough for now. Now we're going to head over into Xcode and create a project. Alright, so actually before we create our project, we're going to do one thing. We're going to jump over into this website on GitHub, and we're going to download this parse file. And I've already done that, so I'll show you what it's supposed to be on the desktop. You'll download these from that file, and then separately you need the Parse UI framework, which I'll provide the link in the description box. So you need these three, and then in the second we're going to drag it into our project. So let's click on Xcode and create a new project, and it's going to be a single view application, and I'm going to call mine meals app. Create this, and then these three that we just downloaded, we're going to drag into here and make sure we click copy items if needed, just to be sure, and click next. And then the first thing we're going to do is add a few frameworks that are necessary to go with Parse. So the first one is Audio Toolbox. The next one is CF Network. And I'm going to fast forward here, and they're going to be in the description if you need them. Alright, so now that we have all our frameworks in, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to delete our viewcontroller.swift actually, and move that to our trash. And then we're going to come in, we're going to click on our storyboard, and we're also going to delete this view controller, and we're going to drag in a table view controller, and then make sure we set that as the initial view controller for now. Now what we're going to do is we're actually going to click on our cell and expand it a little bit. You can expand it to whatever you like, but I'll put it to about right here. And then we're going to take it an image view, and drag our image view in. And then we're also going to have a label, and that's going to go right here. And we'll highlight both of these and set the constraints. Now we're going to click on the image view, and we're actually going to set this as
type PS image view. If it works. Sorry, jump over here to the class and put SPF image view.
That would probably make more sense. Now, so then the last thing we're going to do here is we're going to, over here on the left hand side, we're going to create a new file, and it's going to be a Swift file, and this is going to be called meals cell. So inside our meals cell, we're going to import UI kit, And then we're going to also import parse and import parse UI. And then we're going to go class, Meals cell is type pf table view cell. Then we're also going to create one more file over here. It's going to be a Cocoa Touch class file. And we're going to call this meals table view controller. And it's going to be of type pf query table view controller. So create this. And now we're going to go back into our storyboard. And we're going to set this view controller to the meals table view controller. So now we need to create two outlets, one for our image view and one for our label here. So let's open up the assistant editor. And alright, as you can see, I already did this, so I just control drag from the image view and the label, and this one was called cell image view, and this one's called name label. You can call them whatever you'd like. So now what we're gonna do is we're actually gonna create a new file over here, and it's gonna be a Cocoa Touch class, and it's gonna be called meals table view controller, and it's gonna be a subclass of pf query table view controller. So let's create this. And now we're gonna first start by importing parse, and then also parse UI. Alright, so now that we have parse imported, we're gonna first start by actually calling a query. So we're gonna call query for table, and we're gonna create a variable called let query, and that's gonna be pf query class name, and we're gonna call it meals, because if you recall, over in here we created this class called meals. So then next we're gonna do query.order by ascending, and we're gonna be calling it by the column name. And then lastly, we just need to return this query. Next, we're going to call cell for row at, but we need to make sure we select the pf table view one. So make sure you click this, and then we're going to create a variable called cell, and that's going to be a reusable cell with identifier, and we're going to set it to cell, because that's what we set it to before, and then it's going to be index path. Alright, and actually up here we need to do as our meal cell. So then we're going to do cell dot name label dot text equals object dot object, and for key, and we're going to call this what was it? Let's refer back. Let's check. It's going to be name, and that's as type string. Now we need to do let image file equal object for key, and we're going to call from the image column, and this is going to be as type pf file. Then what we need to do is do cell dot image view and set the image to UI image named We're going to call it background. And while we're at it, let's make sure we're going to actually drag in. Sorry about that. We're going to drag in an image. This set as our background. It doesn't really matter. You can drag in whatever. So we're going to drag it in, and then just make sure the name is background or whatever you put there as the text or as the string. So background. So jump back into the view controller. So then after that, we're going to do cell.cell imageview.file and set it to image file. And then cell.cell imageview.load in background. And then finally, we just need to return our cell. Alright, so after that method, we're going to call height for row at index path. And we're going to create an if statement inside of here. So if index path dot row plus 1 is greater than self dot objects dot count. Then we're just going to return 44. And then outside of that bracket, we need to set let height equal to super.tableview and it's going to be table view, and then it's going to be index path right here. And let's actually delete that and delete that as well. And then we just need to return height as such. And let's do the return like that. Alright. Alright, so there's only a few more things to do before our app will actually work. And the first we need to do is jump into our app delegate, and we need to import Parse and import Parse UI. And then we need to create a variable called configuration, and that's going to be equal to parse client configuration. And inside here, we just need to set our application ID. And then also we need to set our client key. And then finally we need to set the server address. And that's going to be https / parse api.back4app.com. And then these application ID and the client key you grab from over here in your dashboard. So under your app, you click the server tab, and then you copy and paste the app ID and paste it in there, and then copy the client key down here and paste it in there. And then lastly, all you need to do is under the meals class, we actually need to create a row, which I did here, and give it a name of whatever. I did steak, and then you can upload an image, which is the picture of the meal in this case. So now we're going to run the application, and let's see what happens. Alright, so as you can see, it loaded up our steak text and our image, but the constraints are off. It's no big deal. We'll just jump into our main.storyboard, and we'll just reset that to the suggested constraints, reload it, and see if it helps. It should. And there you go. So you have a nice picture of the corgi, and you have a picture of the title text. So now the only other thing that you might want to do is just maybe make the UI look a little nicer. So let's click on here and let's embed it in a navigation controller. And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go all the way to the bottom and we're going to add in the bar button item. And it's going to be redo, or actually let's just call it, I think it might be page curl, or refresh actually. So then let's create an action for that button. Make sure we're on our Tableview controller. Control drag. Call it reload data. And we'll connect that. Then all we need to do is self dot load objects. So basically when we click that button now, it'll refresh our table view. So let's jump into our table view controller here. And the other thing I'm going to do is we're going to customize the appearance of the top navigation controller. So func customize nav bar or something like that. And what we're going to do here is we're going to go navigation controller dot navigation bar dot tint color equals UI color, and then we're going to color literal, and then it's going to be 255 over 255, 255 over 255, 255 over 255, and that's just going to make it white, obviously. And then the alpha is going to be 1. So now we can just basically copy this part. We're going to use the same thing right here. Paste it, and then this time it's going to be bar tint color. And it's going to equal UI color, color with lateral red. And this time it's going to be 66 divided by 255. 62 divided by 255, and then 49 divided by 255. And you can play here with whatever you like. That's just what I did. So let's run our app now and see what we get. It should be like a dark gray color, somewhere around there. And it would help actually if we called it up here. So let's actually load this again. And there you go. As you can see, it changed the color. And let's see here. The only other thing you might want to do is, what to say, welcome. And right now the title is going to be black, so it might not look that nice on our darker navigation bar. So what we can do is you can just set the color of our attributes, and that's going to equal ns foreground color attribute name, and that's going to be UI color dot white. Now when you run it, you'll see that the title of our view controller is going to be white. There you go. I thank you guys for watching. Hopefully you guys learned a lot. If you have any questions, please comment as always. If you want the source code, just comment the hidden word that I'll put at the end of the video. So thanks for watching. Peace.